Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 7th episode. Did we really get our 7th episode on an episode that we're talking about Final Fantasy VII? Yes.
Oh, really?
I am Jacob Wagner.
That was,
and I've got both my cohorts with me. Luke, Ricky, how you guys doing?
Doing okay.
Good. And why don't you go first, Luke?
Oh, sure. Today's been kind of crazy. My middle kid has developed a nasty cough, so now my youngest kid, who's 4, is also starting to cough too. So, kind of worried they have some sort of flu bug going on around here now.
Oof.
But otherwise pretty good. Still playing Last of Us Part 2. Trying to get all the trophies. I'm having trouble with a few of them popping. So hopefully it's just some weird glitch that just happens once. And when I replay the encounter or level, I can get the trophy to go. That's my week.
Cool. Ricky, how about you?
Quite a few things. I'm still obsessed with Pal World. Still slaving my way through that.
Yeah.
And well, as you guys know, I finally got my analog pocket A, which I'm very glad that tomorrow my wife and I are heading down to Muskegon to basically go to this Beatles tribute concert at this music venue that my dad owns.
Nice.
And
how long of a trip is that?
Let's see. So about an hour and a half.
That's some good gaming time.
More like. Oh wait. So wait, what was your question?
How long is the trip so that you can play? How long can you play?
Oh, okay. I thought, yeah, you asked a different question.
Nope.
More closer to an hour 45 minutes. I'm the one driving though.
Oh.
Well, I'm always the one who drives.
Oh, okay. Well, then your wife can play all sorts.
Yeah. Otherwise, I started this today. I enrolled in University of Michigan's Nexus cybersecurity like 9-month program.
Oh.
Not that I'm like intending to no longer be a pastor, but just like another tool to possibly have.
Sure.
A belt.
Yeah.
In case things just don't work out for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
And the neat thing about it is that the first course is 1 month for 30 hours. And the intent of that is basically to determine if you have both the skills and the enthusiasm to with the rest of the 430 hours. So it was only like $180 commitment, just to do the first 30 hours.
Sure.
And then after that, with academic advisors and so forth, talk about if I want to continue with this. So that's what I did today, part of this week. Cool. And yeah, so we'll see where that ends up. Why cybersecurity? My dad, that's what my dad does, and I've always been a little interested in it. So yeah, that's basically what I did this week. Besides piano, I'm wearing part of. This is a birthday present my got me.
Aww.
That's awesome.
It's ridiculous.
Kitties everywhere.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. So anyway, that was my week.
Awesome. Well, I have hopefully actually maybe gotten some possibilities of things. I'm getting further along in a application process for one position dealing with like education and games and such. So it's an online type of thing. So I'm on the third round of it of the application process, which I'm excited about. So we'll see how that goes. I have to make a 90-second video introducing myself and on such things. But that's neither here nor there. I found a data analyst possible, just like, hey, if you want to just work an hour, you can just work an hour and get like $20 an hour. So I went through all of that process, and now I'm just waiting to see if they accept me into it or not. So that'll be exciting. But I haven't really gamed except until today, and today I started playing, and I finished the Final Fantasy VII demo.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's where we're starting with our news and everything. Is that everything Final Fantasy VII? Oh my goodness, this game is phenomenal. It is so much fun. We have the demo is live right now. It will have a second part coming out, I do believe, on the 21st of the month. Then beyond that, the game will be out on the 29th. The demo is about 2 hours long, so it doesn't really take too long, even if you're like poking and prodding at all of the sides of the map just to see if you can find anything or not. I didn't find anything, but that's okay. If you want your progress to carry over to the game, you can, or you could do it over again. I'm gonna do it over again, just because it's so much fun. Luke, did you play the piano minigame?
I did not do that part of it. I think for me, with the way my hands work and don't work,
Sure.
that'd be a difficult thing for me to do. So I probably won't play that mini game. But I've seen clips of people playing like classical music with it. I mean, it's
Yes.
really cool thing.
It is ridiculous how they basically mapped an entire piano to a controller.
That's crazy.
And you just like cycle through flats and sharps and normals. You cycle through octaves. You can have it play a full chord or just a note. And so you can make up or just play your own music if you want to, or you can do the mini game part of it, which is kind of like a theater rhythm or like Guitar Hero type game where you're just watching the lines go up the circle, because everything you play the notes through your joysticks, and so you gotta time it in the direction on the note on the hit. So the first one you get is Tifa's theme, and it starts out really slow, and it builds, and then eventually you're doing both sticks, and I'm gonna be not surprised if some of the later songs are just gonna be like you're playing every note with both thumbs, and it's just gonna be like, I can't take it. Because unlike like with a Guitar Hero or Rock Band, where everything is coming at you on one track and you can see everything, it's two circles that you're paying attention to. And at least for the 10-20 minutes that I fiddled with it, my brain could not focus on both circles at the same time yet. It will take a little bit of practice. but it's
I'd
gonna
like
be.
to see how that works.
I'll see if I can find you like a video on it, or I can share my screen and I can hop over to my recording of doing it, because I'm gonna be trying to put an impressions video out for the demo, for the first part of the demo, just because. I mean, it's like Remake in a lot of the battle mechanics and um just presentation, but I feel like they're just going beyond a bit in how vast just the scope of this game is in comparison with the first one. The first one was very linear, and yes, the gameplay that you did in the first demo is still linear, but it hints at the open worldness because you walk through um the open world from the town of Nibel to um Mount Nibelheim, and so it's just like oh. And that's what the second demo is going to be all about. It's the overworld. It's the outside, doing side quests, doing so many different things. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. This game
Nice.
comes out in 3 weeks on the 29th. So
On
Leap
Leap
Day.
Day.
Yep. I mean, why would you not do that? It's absolutely fantastic.
Why not?
And then if you're loving the music of Rebirth, know that the amount of music tracks that are in the game is 400. That is an insane number. You can pre-order the soundtrack, and it comes in 8 CDs to fit all of the music.
That's insane.
Oh.
What's the cost on that bad boy?
So you can get the non-special edition for $68, or you can get the special edition for $80. I think so the $80 one does come. Okay, so it's 7 CDs on the plain one, and 8 CDs on the special edition, plus box and art stuff.
Is that through SquareEnix.com?
That you can do it through SquareEnix.com, or you can do it through PlayAsia or CD Japan. They are cheaper that way, but okay, the initial price is cheaper, but they're going to get you then in the shipping costs because they're being shipped from Japan.
Yeah.
Whereas the Square Enix store is the North American store. So I might be.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say I might be talking myself into pre-ordering one of them, just as we're talking about it.
Well, I pre-ordered my copy through GameStop, so I get the cheap, crappy hat that comes with it for their built-in pre-order bonus thing.
Sure.
So it's gonna be. They released some to wear the hat to our podcast just because it's a Final Fantasy VII hat. So
I pre-ordered through Best Buy, so I'm getting the steel cover.
Oh yeah.
Is it only for PS5?
At right now, in like a year, it will probably be on PC. Because that's what happened with Remake. Is that it was a PlayStation exclusive for a year, and then one day just showed up on Steam. Like, oh, that's so cool. Actually, I think it was near the release of Intergrade that it came to PC. So, and for those of you who need to a understanding of how to play the games, what order, because they're not numbered, they're named. And I actually talked with somebody about this while I streamed the Rebirth demo today. Remake is the first game. Then Integrate starts at the end of Remake. So in Remake, you're playing as Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, Aerith, and then Red 13 shows up towards the end because you're playing the Midgar section, the first. In the old game, the first thing that took like an hour to beat if you just rush through it. This one is like 40 hours.
Yeah.
20 hours? I don't remember what my gameplay time was. And then Integrate is Yuffie infiltrating Midgar, and she's basically going into the tower as everybody else is going into the tower to go save Aerith. She's going to do other things for Wutai. And then hers goes a little bit into the after Remake. Just because that's how her story progresses, just a little bit. And then they're bringing out Rebirth, which it picks up right at the end of Remake. They are leaving Midgar and heading to the first town. I don't know if it's gonna be like this in the main game, but they're doing the flashback to Nibelheim, and that is what the demo is going through the entire back thing. You can play as Sephiroth in it, and it's just the flashback, and it takes, like I said, 2 hours to do. So that is the order to play the different things.
Yeah, I enjoy playing Sephiroth. His katana is pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, Masamune.
Then his limb breaks, and I can't think what they're called, but the attack you do with Cloud in combination with Cloud.
Yes.
It's like a dual attack. That was really fun to try.
Did you do the big boss with the both of them? Because that's the first time that I was able to use it.
Yeah.
Okay, you were just like a few cutscenes away from the end.
I finished it today.
Okay.
This morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know you'd said yesterday that you hadn't finished it yet, and so I was just like, "Oh, you're so close! Just go watch it." All right.
I enjoyed it. The thing that I thought was really fun was some of the goofiness of the characters.
Yes.
Like the mayor and maybe Tifa's dad.
Yeah.
There's kind of goofy and funny, and I thought it was humorous accents and stuff.
They still have Cloud doing his
yeah
stretches and exercises in the back of the truck.
It's kind of a wholesome game. I really enjoyed it.
Quick question: are most of the Final Fantasy games for PlayStation?
The first,
I know there are Game Boy ones, but
okay, so the first 6 were Super Nintendo games. No, yes, the first 6 were Nintendo or Super Nintendo games. And then, back in the 90s, Nintendo and Square had kind of a big fight. And it was around the N64 cartridge, because the N64 cartridge was a pain in the butt to program for and to initiate onto the cartridge itself. And Square was just like, "Can you please go into a disc format?" And then Nintendo's like, "No." So Square's like, "Okay, we'll just go over to PlayStation," because they're making it a lot easier for us to do what we want to do. So from 7 onward, PlayStation has been the initial spot where Final Fantasy games have been, except for 13 came out on both PlayStation and Xbox at the same time.
Yeah. And then 13 has two additional sequels.
Yes.
So there's three 13 games.
Yes.
If that makes sense. 13-1, 13-2, 13-3.
But just because the numbered ones were on PlayStation does not mean that the eventually Square did not come back to put games on Nintendo's platforms. The GameCube, the first Final Fantasy game that came back was Crystal Chronicles, which was a 4-player co-op action RPG game where you're going through the world. Miasma is all over the place, and you can't like go outside of this circle. So if somebody has to be carrying in the circle, and then everybody else is damaging. So that's getting too far into Final Fantasy things. Just for all intents and purposes, if you want to play all of the numbered ones, except 16, everything is on PC.
Okay.
So on Steam, and actually there is a sale going on right now. If you want to, you can get
Love Steam sales.
The entire like Final Fantasy remake and integrate for $35 right now. And I don't know the prices of the other things because I own everything else on Steam, so I can't prices.
Interesting.
But they are a company that has formed RPGs for decades. They've been at the forefront of what RPGs are.
Seeing quite a few of them on the Nintendo store on the Switch.
They are also there too, yes. Through 12, I think. Except 11, because 11 it was an MMO. As is 14.
There was one I bought for the Xbox. I'm trying to remember what number that was. 10? No.
So if you're wanting to play like the old ones, and because hey, they are older games, let's just go with 7 because it's one of the easier ones to work with. The game came out in 97. It's almost 30 years old at this point. It's 25 years old or more. It takes a long time to go through that game. You can speed the thing up 2 or 4 times what normal speed. You can hit a button and you will always just recover every health and status ailment just right away. It doesn't do anything. So it lets you experience the story if you want to, without having to worry about all of the RPG mechanics. You still have to kind of level up a bit to just be able to do damage. But it makes it super convenient to play it so that, hey, I want to know what the story is all about because I don't want to wait for Rebirth or whatever the third game is to know how the story goes.
Yeah.
Huh. But I'm actually going to jump ahead because Square, just going off of that RPG thing, it's like, hey, Square has been on the forefront of RPGs, but Atlas has kind of been in the wings. and showing off Persona 3 Reload that came out last week. It has already also sold 1 million copies. So, Like a Dragon, Infinite, and Persona 3 Reload, two Japanese produced RPGs, have both hit 1 million sales in their first weeks, in the last 2 weeks. So, there is something to be said of the popularity of RPGs coming back. So, that makes me excited. But I've been talking for a long time. Let's go on to some other topic, unless either of you have anything else to say on Final Fantasy VII.
Just that there's a massive sale on the Nintendo store right now for pretty much every Final Fantasy game they have available.
Oh, and the Pixel remasters are on sale too. That's 30% off
on Switch.
Yeah.
I gotta head back.
Here, I'll just. Final Fantasy Pixel bundle is 20% off. It's normally $75. It is $60 right now. That is the first 6 games in their Pixel form.
So. I did see that. Let me check.
Okay.
I know, stupid autofill.
So Tencent is making some moves. They Elden Ring was a fairly popular Souls-like game. It was fun. It was further than I've ever gotten in the Souls game. So I'll say that much about it. But Tencent is working on a mobile version of the game, which is interesting. How do you guys feel about mobile games? Like, not like games that are designed for mobile, but games that should be on a game system or a TV that are put on phones.
Pretty pointless, I think.
When I play mobile games, I typically play stuff like Plants for Zombies,
Yeah.
or card games like Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how a deep RPG with very intense challenges and mechanics would work on a phone. So I'm not sure how that will translate over.
So I have like Chrono Trigger on my phone just because I wanted to have Chrono Trigger. And basically your joystick is wherever you first put your thumb, and then it goes from there in the circle, which is extremely difficult to work with. Then there is like the battle mechanics are fairly fine because they usually make the buttons bigger. But generally, like, yeah, the controls are just awkward. So I hope this works for him.
I don't like them. Like, at first it was kind of cool, like when what was the name of that racing games? Or I'll have to come back to that, but there's a certain racing game I played a lot on. I forget the console too, but I'll try to do some researching after I'm done talking. But that, and Marathon came out on it, and which at first was cool, but first getting used to like the digital joystick, I just can't do it. And I've seen them these things online, but I saw recently at Target the like controller thing that you stick your phone to, like that.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like if I'm gonna play console games on my phone, I'd have to get a completely separate phone to do that. Um, because of all that space that they would take up.
So
in addition to battery life.
So this is a thing where you can attach a phone in this part. It just clamps on down, and then you hook like an Xbox controller up into. That's which one?
I mean, not an iPhone. I don't think you can do that with an iPhone. It's Apple.
I don't remember how this works. It's been so long since I've used it. Oh no, it's not for an Xbox. It's for an 8-bit though. But anyway, yeah. Further on what type of game they want to make it. They want to kind of make it like Genshin Impact. So free to play, loot boxes. They want to just make a cash grab type thing.
Yeah,
I saw that link. I didn't click on it though. Who's you said Tencent, but who in Tencent is making it? Did they say that who the dev team was?
No.
That's kind of scary too.
Here, let me go into the next one. Largest company. They own it. The rights for the story. Probably FromSoft. But I'm not gonna put money on that. Probably a division of FromSoft because Tencent owns a majority holding of them and Elden Ring. Yeah. Going on then, I guess. Capcom throughout this last year, because they've been around for 40 years, has a 40th anniversary website that has quite a few different games to play on it. They've now added Breath of Fire 2. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Breath of Fire series. It is a pretty fun RPG that is focused on the Dragon Clan, where that's where your main character comes from. And in some of the games, your main character can transform into the dragon and stay that way the entire battle. Sometimes it's like a summon spell where you just kind of use it once and then you have to use it again. I have spent many an hour enjoying Breath of Fire, but these are games that you can play on the browser. You can just play them straight on your Chrome or your Edge or your Firefox. Other games that are on there are Street Fighter 2, Mega Man 1 and 2, Mega Man X, Final Flight, the first Breath of Fire, Final Fight 2, Captain Commando. So they have quite a few games. If you are interested in trying out some old Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, just go to their website and you can just play them, which is insane. It's like it.
Remember that racing game? Sorry,
Go for it.
that racing game I was trying to think of. Revolt. It was for a Dreamcast.
Oh, okay.
Have you guys played that?
No, I didn't have a Dreamcast.
Oh, It's the vehicles are basically remote control cars
Oh,
you're driving, and got it's got some like Mario Kart elements to it, where the method of like the weapons you can get that are randomized, but they're like little rockets or oil you put on the ground. That's part of it too.
sure.
Like the OP vehicle was the UFO, where if you got enough air, you could basically just glide across the whole track.
Oh
And
gosh, cheater.
but that when that came out on, I don't know if it's on the App Store still. I'd have to look, but it was released on the App Store. I was super excited, but the digital joystick thing was very difficult to get used to. Let's see if it's still there. Still have it.
I am so glad
I'm
that.
not seeing it. Dang.
Oh, bummer. I am so glad that this Capcom website did not come out while I was still in school.
Oh yeah.
For all the Flash games I played on school computers.
Yeah. On like E-Bombs World and
Or like Helicopter, where you got to keep the helicopter in between the ever decreasing space of the. I spent way too much. I paid attention. Jumping over to the rumor mill, uh, because there's been so much talk around Persona 3 Reload. Somebody was just like, "Oh hey, I think snarkily like, what about Persona 2 and Persona 4?" And some insider just kind of comes up to into the chat and goes like, "Yeah, we kind of have these things kind of prepped and ready." And we're gonna we'll send them out when we're going, because hey, look how good 3 did. So who knows? And then going along with that rumor, is then that one of those games is going to be a focus on the Switch 2 as well. Of course, that's going to be a rumor on that, but it'd be fun.
Sorry. Backtracking a bit. Revolt was for N64 and PlayStation.
Gotcha.
All right.
Sure.
Move on. Sorry.
No worries.
Correct my error.
I love Persona 4. That was my first introduction to the Persona series.
Sure.
Because I had a Vita and a Persona 4 Golden. So
yeah,
anytime that gets talked about or released, I buy a copy of it. I mean, that's just such an enjoyable game.
Did you buy the physical from Limited Run?
I indeed did.
Okay.
We kind of talked about this like episode 2 or 3, and so I got the Persona 3 and 4 limited run series ones.
Yeah.
Then I also got Persona 3 Reloaded. So I'm gonna be overloaded with Persona 3 over this next few years.
Oh darn. And if you have Game Pass, you can check out Persona 3 Reload, because it's on it, which is pretty cool. I've only played 5, and 5 Royal at that. I got through a few weeks of in game, but I think they actually took it off because I was playing it on Game Pass. But I think they took it off Game Pass, so now I have to play it. I have to start over on either Switch or PS5. I didn't buy it multiple times.
I bought that game 3 times. I bought Persona 5 when it first came out for PS4, and then I bought it on PS5. Then I bought the PS5 Royale version. So I bought that game 3 times. I haven't played it once. So I just gotta stop buying games and play what I have.
The music is so killer.
It is. They put a lot of production value into that. It's so good.
It's so jazzy and fun.
It's funny. It's funny. We were talking about the music. My son a couple years ago was playing something on Roblox, and they had a music from Persona 4 Golden on there. I'm like, you can't play Persona 4. You're not 18 yet. And he's like, I'm playing Roblox. So they've been sampling the Persona music on Roblox. It's just kind of funny, I thought.
Nice.
Interesting.
All sorts of fun playlists on YouTube for P5. Keep going because we are way behind. Spidey 2 is getting a content update on March 7th, having some features like New Game Plus. So if you have finished the game, it's going to be there. There's going to also be some new suits and a bunch of other different things. So Insomniac announced that yesterday on the 7th. A random some of the people who previously worked on many different Final Fantasy games got together and are working on a game called Lost Helden. They're calling it a deep 2D. It basically, what it looks like is just like a bad 3D game that probably is, think Kirby 64 is what I'm guessing it's like. So it's like got 3D-ish graphics, but you're on a linear plane and you can't really move. So that was interesting. Knuckles is getting a TV show on Paramount Plus starting at the end of April. It's going to be a 6-episode show. I am just starting to get sick of all of the different streaming services.
Me too.
I've never owned Paramount Plus, and I don't think I will.
Yeah, so I had only gotten to watch The Mandalorian, and after the character assassinated Obi-Wan Kenobi, I unsubscribed. So, yeah, that's the last time I used it.
It's almost as the same price as like DirecTV or one of those more expensive satellite services. Because one kid has a favorite show on this service, another kid another show. So I have like all of them now, and I need to cut back on that stuff. It's just as expensive as a premium program for like DirecTV or one of those places.
I don't think our household would do very well without Disney Plus.
Yeah, when you got kids, it's difficult.
The programming is geared towards my the age group of my kids. So
yeah, I mean, with all these services, I mean, each streaming service has at least one show minimum that I would want to watch, but to get them all, be spending like $100 a month.
Yes.
That. So you just like pick and choose which ones you want to use. If I had a huge disposable income, that wouldn't be a problem, but I don't, especially now.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, at this point,
anyway.
the first subscription thing that I kind of wanted to get next, or again, is YouTube Premium. I'm sick of watching ads trying to go through YouTube videos.
All I can say is they better not butcher Knuckles or better not do to Knuckles what they did to the Master Chief.
Did you watch the trailer?
No.
Okay. I think you will be able to get a decent understanding of his character, and it will probably be similar-ish to the second movie.
Okay.
It's from
So
what
then I'll be happy.
Yeah, I have yet to watch the second movie. I need to do it, but
Whenever you got an hour and a half.
no, it's 2 hours.
Okay. I don't remember how long.
So many movies are like 2 or 2.5 hours, and finding the time to do that is not as easy as you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our last gaming news of the week, Skull and Bones, after 2 years of delays? 5 years of delays? What was the original release date of that game?
Didn't they announce that game like back in 2011? I mean, it's been in development for a
really
long time. It's been a long time. I'll say it's been in development for 7 years at least. At least.
Skull and Bones Inish.
Because it was supposed to be a spin-off of Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
When did development start? In 2013. Shortly after AC4.
So 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
It's insane.
Hmm.
It was supposed to be released Q3, Q4 of 2018.
Oh. They're not as bad as George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, it's true.
And I haven't been waiting as long as most people, but even I'm getting patient for his final book. Anyway.
I cannot even fathom what the development costs for Skull and Bones are for being in development for 11 years. For them to try to recoup their the money that they put into it.
Who's the developer? No, it's Ubisoft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one who put that in our notes, so
Sure,
I should know. I always confuse Ubisoft and Bethesda. I always confuse those two. It's like fusion of law and gospel.
I was excited for this game when it was first announced back in 2013, but now it's been 11 years, I've kind of lost interest in it.
Yeah.
My brother's playing it right now.
And Sea of Thieves came out in the midst of that, which probably put some kind of stopped some people's excitement because, like, oh, I have a pirate game now that I can sail the seas.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they delayed, at least internally.
They can maybe say that that's what they did, but for the fact that they pushed back the release date like at least 6 times.
I think it was more of a the reason why they decided to release it was more of a business partnership with Ubisoft Malaysia, I think.
Yes.
It was something to do with money, and that's all it was. Because any other game they would have canceled years ago. With them being in development for 13 years or whatnot, there was some sort of shady money deal happening.
Yeah. That's
probably better in the long run because, I mean, 2 pirate games coming out at the same time. Kind of unnecessary competition.
Yeah. Swinging over to gaming companies and their news, Nintendo had some of their sales reports for quarter four, and you can find some of the numbers for the sales of how well some of the games did. Mario RPG did a really good job for only being out a month. I remember that. I guess the highlights. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still selling. These might be total totals. It sold 60.58 million copies. So almost one for every 2 Switches. Tears of the Kingdom has jumped up to over 20 million. Scarlet and Violet has now surpassed Gold and Silver as the third most selling Pokemon game.
What's the first most selling?
I can look that up because that's where is Joe Merrick's stuff. Okay. God bless Joe Merrick. Red, blue, green. That's at 31.3 million. Sword and Shield
Really,
is at
the original.
the originals.
That's still at number 1.
Yes.
That's wild.
That was the Game Boy seller.
Yeah.
Sword and Shield is at second with 26 mil. Scarlet and Violet is at 24 point whatever. Gold and Silver is at 23.7, so it just passed it. And then everything else is under 20. So that is from the Pokemon master himself, Joe Merrick, the main guy behind Cerebi.net. So if you can't trust him about Pokemon stuff, you can't trust anybody about Pokemon stuff. But the main number that I really wanted to talk about with it, the quarter four sales report, is the fact that the Switch has now sold little over 139 million. They sold another 11 million this last quarter. And it is already in third place for the most selling console of all time. The only things that are beating it are the Nintendo DS, which is at 154 million, and the PS2, which is at 155 million. The PS2 was seemingly an unsurmountable goal to reach because of what it was in the time it came out, because it wasn't just a fancy gaming machine.
It was a cheap DVD player.
It was so many people's first DVD players. It was cheaper than buying an actual DVD player.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing for them. So Switch, even if Switch 2 is announced anytime soon, if they can keep up a 10 million sale this quarter, they're only 6 million away from tying the PS2. And there are so many people who buy older consoles after a new console comes out because they have been reduced in price. So the Switch is in perfect positioning to become the best-selling system of all time.
They really are, especially with those Xbox rumors.
And we'll get to those.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I stopped there.
In this report time, some of the higher ups in Nintendo have stated that Nintendo's main business heading into 2024 is the Switch. But that's just heading into 2024. They have left most of the year open. Also, Nintendo is very concerned about generational transitions, because their handheld market has done very well through the years. I mean,
yeah.
Game Boy to Color to Advance to DS, they've never had problems with selling more handhelds. What they have struggled with is their main consoles. The original NES was fairly okay received in the long run. The Super Nintendo was a hit. No, or was it the other way around, that the Nintendo was a hit and the Super Nintendo was not as much, because it was competition from Sega and Sony that probably messed with that. The 64 was fairly well received by the general public, especially with games like Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time being some of the first 3D adventures ever. Like, this was your first 3D console, so it was fantastic. Then the GameCube sucked, sales-wise. Even though it still had fantastic games on it, people didn't buy it.
Yeah.
They went with 360 and PS3. So then the Wii comes out, and the Wii sold over 100 million. There it is. The Wii sold 101.6 million units. Then the Wii U came up. It sold 13.5 million. People, it was a horrible. There were so many bad decisions about the Wii U. The naming, the hardware inside. So many people were just didn't know what the system was, that it was better. And it wasn't really that much better. So people didn't buy it. But now the Switch has come out, and it's at 139 million. Over 10 times has sold over 10 times more than the Wii U. Bonkers. So they are obviously right to be concerned about their generational transition. So in an interview, it was stated that they are working to find unique propositions to keep players and to keep their brand established. Does that mean gimmicks? Does that mean doubling down on the hybrid handheld TV console? Because they are concerned about the mobile market being, mobile gaming is one of the highest, if not the highest, revenue service of gaming. That article that you had sent a few weeks ago, Luke, talked about how well mobile gaming was doing, and how poor console gaming is going at this moment, sales-wise. So, what that means, maybe we'll find out in March, because, again, in this report as well, there was what sounded like a hint that they were going to be announcing things at the next investors meeting. which the fiscal year ends in March. So with that, there is a rumor that the general February direct that has been happening for the last 5, 6, 7 years might be a partner direct where it's not talking about Nintendo specific games. Now, people might just be saying things to get internet points, which is always probable and possible. But I am not going to be surprised at any day announcement for a direct the next day, because that's been their modus operandi. They announce it the day before. But that's all about Nintendo. That's everything that's been going on with the toy maker. PS5 has some fun things in beta right now. Enhanced DualSense controller speaker audio and mic noise cancellation. So those are fun upgrades. And then their share screen for social media posts and everything is getting more basically pointers and emojis, ways to dress up your pictures or your shares. So not too much. And Xbox. Oh, you sweet summer child.
Oh boy.
Preface that this entire conversation will likely be solved next week when Phil Spencer is going to be doing a presentation, because everybody is freaking the F out. Because there have been rumors from Xbox is no longer in the console market anymore, to they are going to be solely focusing on being a software developing company.
Yeah.
And just putting all of their games on other platforms, which goes in line with the other reports that we talked about last week. What has brought more credence to this? Some worker at Microsoft put his LinkedIn profile as stating that he is very much at work on bringing Xbox games to Sony, Nintendo, and PC. Like, he put that in his profile.
Yeah.
I wonder if we should say former employee of Microsoft.
Yeah. Oh boy. So it's pretty much going to happen.
So the software thing is appearing to be more of a, not necessarily a slam dunk, but a highly probable likelihood. But again, These are all rumors.
Yep.
We don't know about all of that, but I am very, very positive that is what Phil Spencer is going to be talking about. And then the other rumor to go along with all of that, because, oh hey, if Microsoft is thinking about putting Game Pass on the other systems, they need to change their name. And so apparently GameStop said in either some document or some tweet that Xbox Game Pass was changing their name to Microsoft Game Pass. And then GameStop said that, oh yeah, we just made that up. But then EA has in some of their documents Microsoft Game Pass. So are they changing the name or not? They're already taking away Xbox Gold, Xbox Live Gold. That is no longer a thing. It is just Game Pass and your different levels of Game Pass.
Interesting.
So what's going on at Microsoft? Who knows? But they have even more problems going in. Like, okay, so before I get into this, there are literally people abandoning Xbox in droves because of rumors.
Yeah.
Of what's going on.
Xbox Twitter isn't really fun right now. Just seeing people melt down and 4-year-old men throwing fits over their plastic box is kind of embarrassing.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I love video games, but not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's just something that we all have to kind of work through on our own. Is how much does this mean in my life? How much is this a part of my life?
Well, and the reason why people get so offended and upset about things like this, no matter what it is, video games, whatever, is because what a lot of people do is they wrap up their identity in that thing.
Yes.
That's why
the console wars are a thing.
Right. Like use a different example, like the Marvel universe. If I were to say, oh, I don't think the Marvel movies are that good, which I do believe that, it would tick off so many people because that's part of their identity for some reason.
Some of them do the movies as the main thing. Some of them do the comics as the main thing. Some of them focus on the shows as what's canon.
Right. So yeah, I guess the question is what is part of your identity, and how should it be? I mean, is that really healthy? Is it really a healthy thing to make Xbox or PlayStation, whatever, as part of your identity?
Yeah.
We could talk about that theologically, but I won't.
It makes sense in any context. Like,
it does.
I
mean, it's an object, right? It's a thing. Should you really place so much value on that?
Yeah.
It's not going to go to you in your grave.
Well, it might go into the grave with you, but
it's not going to matter.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. Actually, before we jump into the actual real life problem that Microsoft is having, I do want to just have a quick conversation about the possibility of Microsoft going full force into the we're gonna put as much of our software as we can on other platforms. We kind of talked about this last week because the rumors had started, and I mean we had a list of like 10 games, I think, that
Something like that.
were specifically mentioned to be great possibilities of going over to the other systems.
Yeah.
What does Microsoft gain from taking away all of their exclusives and putting it on everything else? Do they think that they're going to gain more Game Pass subscriptions? Do they think that they're going to get more revenue because they're selling software, not hardware? Like, most companies lose money on their hardware and make it up in their software. But if they have no exclusives, is that just as much a problem? Because look at no, I'm gonna look just at Nintendo, because Sony has kind of started putting things in other places too. Even though Nintendo has done what is business sense the worst possible decision that they could make by only allowing their games on their platforms, they are still leading the pack, likely, in actually making money. Because you can only get these games right here. We have a system that is cheaper than everything else.
Yeah.
Our games cost a whole heck of a lot less to make than these other guys. Would Microsoft benefit from more of a format like that instead of let's put everything on everywhere,
right,
and then recoup our losses that way?
Yeah.
I mean, they're sure probably going to make money because
it's Microsoft.
Not a lot of people only have one console, maybe with a Switch on the side. But they either have an Xbox or a PS5. Luke, you and I are in the minority here. For having both of them.
I used to have a PS4 with the with the latest Xbox at the time, and then I got rid of it because I never played it.
Yeah.
Which is why I haven't gotten a PS5, because what am I gonna?
What are you gonna focus and play on it? Yeah.
Right.
And I guess maybe the other point of conversation with this is that Xbox has no mascots.
Yeah, you talked about that last week.
Yeah, Sony kind of has mascots. Not as
Crash
many.
Bandicoot.
Um, well, we'll get into them later. um, but no, Crash Bandicoot was their mascot for the longest time.
Yeah.
Jack and Dexter, Ratchet and Clank, Kratos.
For Microsoft, it was the Master Chief for a time.
But it was only Master Chief.
Yeah.
Like there was an E3 that I think it was an IGN video that made a console wars where it was Nintendo facing off against Xbox and facing off against PlayStation. Nintendo comes with all of these mascots and recognizable characters. PlayStation comes with a few. They're there, but they're obviously less. And then the Xbox fighter just comes with Master Chief, and he's like,
yeah.
and Microsoft now owns so many companies. How are they going to put out all these games when for the last 4 years, ever since the Series X and S came out, they have not had a game that has really hit? Yes, one of the racing games did win a bunch of game of the years. I guess that was
Forza?
a hit. Force. I think it was one of the Forzas. I don't remember which one it was. But they have all of these assets, and nobody can get a stupid game out. And when they get the game out, it's not ready.
I think part of the problem that I'm seeing with Xbox for the longest time is lack to vision.
Yes. And
PlayStation, not so much. Nintendo, no, they've always had a vision.
Hmm.
No, I don't know. I don't know what I can say what both of their visions are, but you can just tell that they have a vision.
Absolutely.
There's enthusiasm in what they do.
Yes.
They know how to make good games.
I think some of that is I know Miyamoto, one of his design philosophies, I just want to make fun games. I want to make games that I want to play.
Yeah.
He has said that in
And
many different interviews.
it's perfect because that's exactly what gamers want.
Yes.
Right. So if he wants the same thing gamers want, then we're gonna get it.
We're gonna get fun things.
Yeah. No, that's what gaming's all about. It's about having fun. Right. That's the whole point.
And Microsoft had the opportunity to have the resources to make all of these games, but then they laid off a tenth of their company. 1,900
Right.
people. Which is a lot. And it's so many so soon after their acquisition of Activision Blizzard that the FTC has filed complaints against them, stating that this goes against everything that you were telling us in court, that you lied to get this company. And Microsoft responded, oh, well, the decision for these layoffs was made by Activision Blizzard before the acquisition. Yeah, we're going to get rid of... For Activision Blizzard, that would have been... If that many was a tenth of the company, for Microsoft, Activision Blizzard, I can look that up. They employed, unless they've updated it, 5,000 to 10,000 employees. Or, wait, no. Maybe that has been updated. Either way, they have now just crippled themselves for having the resources to make games better and faster. What the crap are they doing?
Can I ramble for a few minutes?
Go for it, please.
Okay. All right. You guys are talking about games and how well they'll sell on their consoles, and looking at this from a sales position.
Yeah.
If figures are still correct, for every game they sell on another console, they get 70% of that sale.
Crap.
So say they're on all consoles now. They produce all the games for all the consoles, all the games. They just go away from having exclusives. They'll still make a crap load of money. They'll still have that 70% cash flow coming back to them. So I think it'll still be profitable for them if they go full third party.
But there's
Now,
also development costs to get things on these other platforms, because you can't just copy and paste your game from Xbox to PlayStation, and then Nintendo things are still going to be less powerful, so you have to demake your games.
oh sure,
Yeah.
sure. But so I mean there will be dev costs definitely, but I think having that 70% cash flow back will still equal out for them in the end if they keep Game Pass going. Now I don't think Game Pass will be on PlayStation ever. I think Sony is so against that being on their systems. It's just an automatic stop block for them.
Sure.
So I don't see that going on Sony at all. Um, you guys are also talking about the Xbox Vision, or lack thereof. Have either of you guys watched the documentary, The Story of Xbox, Power On? It's on YouTube.
I think I've seen bits of it, but I haven't
If you
sat down and
haven't,
watched the whole thing.
if you haven't, I suggest doing that. It's like
Okay.
5 or 6 parts. But from the very beginning, Xbox has always been kind of a ragtag group of people at Microsoft.
Yeah.
Now, I will say the guy, I can't even think of his name now, the guy before Phil Spencer in the Xbox One generation, he almost killed Xbox, just the way they handled the Xbox One.
Yes.
But I will say, Phil Spencer, regardless if you like him or not, I think he does provide a vision for Xbox. He's a good mouthpiece. Along with Sarah Bond, I think they do a good job of promoting the brand,
Sure.
promoting the games, and having the roadmap out. Until 2026, they have a huge roadmap for games coming out.
How many of those games are going to make their deadlines?
That's a good question. That deals with my next point, along with vision and putting games out. Xbox management has sucked. As far like you look at a game like Redfall, um, just for example,
Yeah.
Redfall I thought was kind of fun, but I stopped playing after an hour. I mean, I just couldn't devote a lot of time for a half baked shooter, you know. And who was the developer for that? Arcane.
Yes.
Arcane has made some of the best games for previous generations, like Prey and Dishonored 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It was just a poorly managed development cycle. And I think Phil Spencer even mentioned that in interviews, saying he didn't follow up with them, and that blame rests on him. So I think now they realize that there needs to be accountability for their teams. There needs to be accountability from Microsoft on Xbox. I think once the ship gets corrected, we'll see a better company, and I think maybe this going third party may be the solution for that.
I hope
Now
so
I
for him.
do think I do always think there will be an Xbox console. It
Yeah.
won't be like what we have now. It'll
Right.
be vastly different. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my rambling on Microsoft.
No, those were all very valid points. Um,
Yeah.
you made me think of. Shoot, I just had it right before. Um, oh, so I can also understand that, like, for the Series X and S release and everything going on with it, they were extremely impacted by the pandemic because they had to shift all of development to remote. So, yes, that will affect your games. Absolutely. Like, I think Halo Infinite was the first showing of that, really, for how the campaign was when it released. Multiplayer was pretty good, and I'm glad they released it a month early.
That was
Yeah.
343, right?
Yeah.
Did that Infinite?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been 343 since after Reach, because that's when Bungie jumped ship.
Yep.
To your point though about the pandemic, I think we're seeing the effects of that at PlayStation now too.
Yeah.
This year is pretty much empty as far as first party releases. They also try to shift everything to games as a service. All those games are pretty much being canceled now or have been canceled. So we're seeing a huge gap for this next year for PlayStation.
Yeah.
I think something like that is kind of normal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, periods of, I guess, high production and periods of low or average.
But that goes back to the idea of proper management and vision and planning. You should have a killer app every year,
Hmm.
and if you already have one, unless you've pushed this game back a bunch of times, you should save that release for later
Right.
to keep people playing your systems, playing your games.
Right.
I mean, yes, there is the mindset that it's not making any money just sitting in the storeroom. Okay. But now people are going to be even less involved with you because what are you giving? What are you giving them?
Right.
Nothing.
And I don't think I can say this is really Xbox's, but something else I've noticed among various developers is just bad game after bad game after bad game. Mass Effect Andromeda, right?
Yeah.
Halo 4 through Infinite. The gameplay on all of them have been great, but narrative has been poor. Anthem, same thing. Gameplay absolutely amazing.
Who wouldn't want to be basically Iron Man?
Right, exactly. It was so much fun, and then the story wasn't very compelling, and then when you finish the story, there's nothing really to do. Anthem, Ubisoft has some other big failure. Well, I mean, Fallout 76 was messed up at the beginning, and so on and so on and so on and so forth.
Cyberpunk started out.
Yeah, Cyberpunk.
And
It's just like
that all comes down to
like
poor management and poor planning.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like
Thankfully,
why?
thankfully, some of these studios and games have redeemed themselves.
Yeah,
Cyberpunk,
I'm hoping.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, BioWare dropped the ball. What was their? What did they drop the ball with recently?
Well, I think their last
Um
thing was Anthem.
yeah, it was. Um, they're still working on Mass Effect 4.
The KOTOR
Um,
remake has been dropped, I think.
so I
That,
want them to
that's
take their
sad.
time with Mass Effect 4 because that should be like that should hopefully redeem them from Andromeda. And
That and the new Dragon Age. Hopefully, the
yeah,
Dragon
Yes.
the Red Wolf.
that's what I was gonna say. I was trying to remember who the developer is.
Yes.
It's either
That's all
Ubisoft or
BioWare EA.
Bethesda. Or those three, I always confuse them. But yeah, I'm really looking for the Dreadwolf.
Hmm.
Actually, having read the most recent book, which is a collection of novellas, that pretty much prepares you for I'm pretty sure we're going to be in the. I don't remember the name of the region. Tevinter Imperium. Is that it?
Mm.
You can look it up real fast.
Um,
On my phone right
the
here.
Tevinter, yeah, the Tevinter Imperium. I'm pretty sure it's going to take place there, just based on the direction the books have been going. Anyway, um, I'm hoping that's going to be pretty good.
There are promising games in the pipelines for every single.
And Ricky, it is to venture.
Tevinter Imperium.
Yeah.
Every single game system and will they be able to get it to work? Will they be able to have a finished product by release date? Are they allowed to just make the game that they want to make? That's the other thing. How many of these?
On to your point, Jacob, are they making what they want to make? We look at WB games.
Hmm.
They did The Witcher, the Witcher 3, Cyberpunk, and now they've also made or funded rather, the Suicide Squad game. Again, I'm having a lot of fun with that, but the majority of people are not.
Yeah.
They think it's a cash grab, and I think it is. It's also a fun game. I think what's going to happen though these next couple of years, companies like Embracer and Tencent, all those games are going to be cannibalized from each other. So I think we have a pretty rough couple of years coming up once they start realizing they're releasing 10 games in the same window. They're all competing for the same dollar.
And how many of them are going to be games? So, the service games, the games as a service, or
Yeah,
having microtransactions left and right.
But I think that's why games, frankly, kind of suck nowadays, just because they're all games as a service, because that's where the next dollar is. But people aren't playing those as they're wanting them to play them. Um, and to your guys' point about No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk, they did have good redemption arcs. That should be the exception, not the new standard.
Yes.
I think people are saying it is the new standard. You can have a crappy game at release, and 2 years later it'd be good. That shouldn't be how it works, but sadly it is.
If
You
the
know, I'm old
situation
enough.
happens, that's what they should strive for.
Yeah,
But
I'm old enough to remember Nintendo and Super Nintendo games that when they released, that's what you got.
yep.
There were no firmware updates. There were no patches. It was a good game. It was a good game. If not, well, you're crap out of luck. Um, I kind of wish they would go back to that in a way. So maybe people might be holding their companies more accountable for good games and bad games. But it won't happen. But
No, because of the internet, because of the ability to patch things.
yeah,
Well, Jacob, you said you wanted to have a brief conversation, and it was not brief.
I knew that one wasn't going to be brief. I was just saying it.
that's my fault.
Shall we
Sorry.
move on?
No. We all
It's
went
not.
off, and because it is the future of this hobby,
Yeah.
and it's a large part. It is a third of all gaming, or a fourth, depending on how you put PC into there. A third. PC doesn't have any games by themselves.
No, they don't.
So we will probably come back to this conversation next week after we see what Phil Spencer has to say. And it will be not rumors. Like, again, this is all hypothetical. This entire half-hour conversation might not even matter.
Right.
We might
I
be...
want to show you guys something real fast if I can find it, based off these rumors. There's a guy I follow on Twitter. He said that he got an email from someone named Hiroki Totoki, and I just thought it was the funniest thing. Let me find it real fast. You guys keep talking.
Rocky Totoki.
He said that all the rumors at Microsoft were true, and this is coming from Hiroki Totoki. Do you guys know who that is?
No.
Hiroki Totoki?
No, I don't.
I thought it was a made up person. Okay, so I was kind of chuckling. But Hiroki Totoki is the new, or will be, a CEO for PlayStation. So this guy is getting an email from him saying that all the Microsoft stuff is true. It was just dumb. Let me find it. Oh yeah, here we go. So this guy named Kmed, he says, I can confirm that I also received a text message that a few other people did yesterday about Xbox. The text message says, next week will be better, lol. Don't believe everything you read. And so then I'm like, who's this Hiroki Totoki guy? It's that guy right there, this Japanese dude from PlayStation.
Yeah, he looks familiar.
I just thought it was funny that now they're just talking out their butts.
I think we should move
Yeah,
on.
well, we can jump off through these last ones. Okay, so the layoff thing we have talked about to death over the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
But again, there's another week with more layoffs. Activision's Toys for Bob had 86 people dropped. That is creators of Crash Bandicoot and others. So that's 86 more people. And with that, in the last 38 days of 2024, around 6,300 people in the gaming industry have lost their jobs, let alone the 10,000 last year.
And it hasn't even been a full 2 months yet.
No. We're not halfway through February.
That is remarkable. In a horrible way.
Yes. So, again, this is just keeping track of everything that's going on with all of the layoffs and just trying to keep it in the spotlight so that we can hopefully do something about it.
Yeah.
On a positive note, maybe, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. Disney and Epic got together for a partnership to basically make a Disney gaming universe inside of Fortnite. Like,
sounds bizarre.
Because Bob Iger was talking about the fact that, like, oh, millennials and younger, well, gaming is like, they do it more than watching TV. And it's just like, okay. That's like 10 years too late, but sure, okay. and
Must be Lutheran.
and it goes over like how they want to just create all of these games in the Fortnite engine. And to start that, I think the amount was 1.5 billion that Disney gave Epic, which is really good for Epic because Epic has been floundering for money because of all of their free-to-play things and people not necessarily buying them and them giving free games away every couple weeks.
Yeah.
They're bleeding money, and people haven't transitioned over to that service because everything else they own is on Steam. So,
yeah, I heard about that. I can understand why people are excited, but
it could be
first
good.
video I saw about it, I was like, meh.
It could be
I
not
don't
good.
even like Fortnite.
I mean, this announcement came with a whole bunch of other Disney announcements for movies and different things, which would be an Infinity Bros podcast. I'll plug them.
Anytime Disney does something these days, I hold my breath.
Yeah. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. Oh, well, I am. My interest is piqued with this. And our last, nope. We're getting towards the end there. There was a page break. The company Kadokawa, which is under Tencent and has like From Software and everything. And they also do a bunch of stuff with anime. That's where I recognize the name as a splash screen before different anime. Kadokawa acquired the company Acquire. And Acquire is the main developer of Octopath Traveler 1 and 2. And the mobile game, probably, I think. So, that's interesting. Did they acquire from Square then? Did they buy it from Square?
I have no idea.
I don't know that one.
Because Octopath is under the Square Enix umbrella of games. That needs more digging into for that news. And then a great thing. Yoko Shimomura. The lady who worked on the, I do believe, music for Kingdom Hearts, Mario RPG, Mario and Luigi, Street Fighter 2, Xenoblade Chronicles, Smash Brothers, and so many other games. is getting a Lifetime Achievement Award for all of her works from the Game Developers Choice Awards. And she
For her.
deserves it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Most all of the banger hits from a good majority
Smash
of
Bros. Is,
yeah.
Smash Bros. Is some of my favorite Nintendo music, especially Melee.
Yeah. So
And what was the one after that? That starts out with that erratic choir. Do 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 do.
Not ultimate. Brawl.
Yes, Brawl. Yeah, the opening for Brawl is just phenomenal.
Yes.
The whole music for that one is good too. But
I didn't like that one as much.
yeah,
As the
I
other
didn't
one.
like it as much as Melee, but there's just like two specific tracks that I just really liked.
Yes.
Anyway, good for her. That's awesome.
Okay. Round table. We can go through this. So these first sets of questions are for the three of us. And then we'll open it up for others. If you could play any game with your wife, what would you want to play with her?
Or if you do already
What do
play
you
any video
play?
game with your wife, what is it and why?
Yeah, well, we don't play anything. She's too busy.
So then what would you like to play with her?
Honestly, I would like to get into a longer running game with her. Like, I don't necessarily want this game to have us play this game together, but a game like this or in a same. I want to play it like WoW together. To have a pocket other person to play the game with.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. That's
Yeah. You'd spend a lot of time together with it, so.
And it's a game that keeps on going.
Yeah.
We've tried to start It Takes Two. We've planned it out to play it, but then life comes up and we never get around to it.
Yeah.
You got something, Luke?
I'll kind of piggyback off Jacob. I wanna play the party type games with my wife, or I would love to at least. Like It Takes Two, A Way Out, the Dark Anthology picture games would be fun to do with her. I think, like Until Dawn, just have input on the decisions I make, to whether my character lives or dies. I think it'd be fun to see her reactions to the gruesome deaths.
I
And knowing
don't
she
think I
played a
could
part
play
in
A
them.
Way Out with her. Oh, the ending of that game.
There's just that type of game I'd like to play with my
Oh yeah.
wife,
Oh yeah.
because the social reaction of another player, and I think it'd be
Yeah.
fun that way.
I watched two brothers play A Way Out. And I watched them play. I watched a majority of that game. Oh, the end.
I'm not familiar with this
Not
game, so I'm
not spoiling it.
Okay. What's it called again?
A Way Out.
Way Out.
A Way Out. Okay. I'll just
There's one on Game Pass that was kind of fun. I thought, As Dusk Falls, I think it is. It's kind of the same type of game as the ones I'm talking about or describing. We make choices that make an impact over the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
No, As Dusk Falls, I think. Let me look it up real quick.
Monster Hunter would be another one I'd like to play. Because that is, again, a gear grind. Like, you can keep playing that game. And you can have 4-player multiplayer. So, anyway, up to it.
Yeah, the game on Game Pass, Ricky, is called As Dusk Falls. It's kind of a party decision type game. So that and A Way Out and Until Dawn, just a bunch of games like that,
Hmm.
team-based games.
I
And so
remember
we're
seeing As Dusk Falls on, I think, an E3 presentation. Yeah.
so we're talking about this because our next episode will be February 15th, so the day after Valentine's Day, and obviously our wives are going to be our Valentines. Um, but like, what about everybody out there? Like, what would you like to play with your significant other?
Well, hold on. I haven't gone yet.
Well, that's right. I am sorry. You were the one. You were talking before, and I thought my brain registered that you had said something. I'm sorry.
No. Your brain has betrayed you.
My brain is tired.
So is mine. Well, my wife and I, we have played Animal Crossing together, New Horizons,
That's
which
a
is
good
pretty
one.
fun, but also hilarious because she has zero experience playing video games. And so she has trouble memorizing where the buttons are. So she always has to like, I tell her like, and she can't remember how to like pick things up. I'm like, press Y, and she has to like look down. Should do. I saw somebody do this for their, I think girlfriend it was, is like put underneath the TV
A
like a
controller.
printout of where the buttons. Um,
That would
but
be
we played that together. And that's been kind of fun. And, but if it could be a thing, it would. I would love to play Destiny 2 with her.
I was gonna say that's gotta be yours.
Yeah, mainly because I don't have a 3-person fire team anymore.
Yeah.
Um, or because like the people I first played with left, they stopped playing it,
Sure.
and the people I'm with now, they're not like the people in my clan. I mean, they're
Mhm.
not like my friends. And they can be they're pretty immature. They're like our age, and maybe some a little younger. They're just really immature, and
Bummer.
I can't connect with them and relate to them because of their immaturity level. Um, so
That's
just
sad.
just be great to have like friends to play that game with again as a 3-person fire team. But it's never gonna happen with her because and for games like that, she gets motion sickness, so it's gonna happen.
I think that's the general like desire of anybody who plays a multiplayer game. I just want somebody to play it with.
Yeah, that's all I want. It basically is just my brother, and he's barely on it now too, and then it'd just be the two of us. And normally we can do things just the two of us, but lately recent dungeons in that game have been extreme, like nearly impossible to do with 2 people. It's like they purposefully increase the difficulty the more people you have, which is stupid.
Oof.
It's not like it's gonna be a breeze when you have 2 or 3 people. So I don't know why they've been doing that.
To make the game last longer.
Yeah, I hate it though. It's like I'm a casual player now with that. Um, I don't have the time I used to have to invest in that game anymore. Um,
And for all intents and purposes, Destiny 2 is an MMO.
yeah.
And it has a gear grind.
Yep. The grinding hasn't been as bad. Like every season, they used to increase the max power level by 10, and they haven't done that for like 2 seasons or so, which has been
Oh,
nice. Because
that
then
is
you have
nice.
to just grind, just to do your end game activities, just to get like special gear that you can only get in a specific way. Uh, yeah. But I'm glad they haven't done that. All right. So now,
Valentine's Day. That's the theme of everything we're going for. What would you
yes.
like to do? We've talked about a whole bunch of fun and co-op games, but I would be remiss in not mentioning the fact that not everybody has somebody to spend Valentine's Day with. In college, it was Single Awareness Day.
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah, on the opposite side, what would be a great game to wallow in your solace of loneliness? No. Or just to like, hey, I need either like a pick me up or like this is a fantastic single player experience.
Yeah.
If Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was out, I would say that.
Single player experience. They would have to go with Pokemon.
It's classic. Go with the nostalgia.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Baldur's Gate 3.
Ooh.
Because that way you can get a love connection with a party member.
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go.
Or you can play co-op and get a love connection that way. So I'll say Baldur's Gate 3.
There you go.
Or the Mass Effect trilogy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can either remain faithful or have multiple partners.
Yeah, Miranda or Liara.
Oh boy.
Blue Lady or Tough Chick. And other good-looking gals. Yeah, so the listeners, viewers, about you, if you have a wife or husband or significant other, what do you guys play together, or what would you like to play with them, or if you're single, again,
put it in the chat.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. We'd like to know.
Awesome. That other one is in that question is for probably next week because I found it as a very interesting thing, and so we'll continue with that. All right. Before we wrap things up, I have some housekeeping to do. Because we've gone 2 hours with this, in an attempt to pare that down, because GPR Cast is a production to try to share as much of the news as we can, though even that might have to be tweaked a little bit, because our original plan was to only ever go like an hour because podcasts are good at an hour. But nevertheless, I'm gonna be taking out the Nintendo stuff for the most part, and gonna be just trying to make a Nintendo focused show. Just to go off on that, so that we could go into those numbers a bit more. We can talk about a lot of that type of stuff without, because not all of us are fully like Nintendo guys or this or that. Like, hey, maybe the Switch 2 announcement. Oh, great. We'll definitely talk about that. Probably on both shows. But just to cut a little bit out of this show so that we can cut a little bit off of our time, for both you and for us, just because, let's see, our last shows.
Guess it'd be pretty late. It's almost midnight here.
Yeah, like we can just go through our last shows. Come on. Why do you not? Okay. Last week was 2 hours. Previous 2 weeks were close to an hour and a half. The week before that was almost 2 hours. The week before that was 2.5 hours. We have yet to even possibly get under an hour.
Yeah. It's funny because the first one, I was worried that we wouldn't make an hour, but it ended up being like 2.
Our first one was an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So
we went over an hour,
So in the next coming weeks, I don't know if it's going to be next week. I don't know if it's going to be the week after. We'll see how my schedule goes. I'll be throwing up together a Nintendo show. This will also just get more content on our page. Name to be determined. If you guys want to join me for that, you totally can. Otherwise, I've kind of been trying to figure out, see if I can find anybody who's like a Super Nintendo nerd, like myself, to go off with. Because
not me, but I do enjoy some Nintendo products.
Nintendo is. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. If you haven't found that out by now.
Most of my Nintendo has been Pokemon.
Sure.
So anything Pokemon on there. No.
And then we might try to do some other shows. I don't know. The three of us have to talk and see if there's anything else that we can look at to take out that we could fill another show with, that we could easily do a half hour to an hour on. So we'll talk about that. We'll get back to you about all of that.
I will say though, last week Jacob, you and I talked about this off camera.
Mm-hmm.
I am planning on starting, or maybe you could call it, of Halo lore from the books.
Yes.
I got my first manuscript written already, and
awesome.
It's a big one because I'm covering the entire Forerunner saga, which is a trilogy.
All right,
so that'll be a
to get
longer
some,
video.
Like, Halo 5 footage, just play around on the Forerunner levels. Okay.
You can Google image, Forerunner images from like Halo Legends and.
I'm not gonna steal
like
art because I want to actually source that.
Yeah, that's true. So that I'm currently working on the second manuscript, but the first one's going to be quite long because I'm covering the whole Forerunner saga.
That's impressive.
And I didn't want to do each one at a time. I wanted to cover them as a whole.
That makes sense.
There's just a lot of going back and forth to explain everything that's happening, and it's quite fascinating. So
cool.
Look forward to that, and I don't know when I'm gonna make it, but soon, maybe. See.
We'll definitely look forward to that.
Yeah.
All right, Luke, do you have any announcements? Okay. Gaming Public Radio is made possible due to our love of gaming and the desire for this community. If you'd like to support us, please hit that subscribe button to see everything new when it comes on out. The podcast thing, I will I'm not even going to say it right now because I haven't been putting them up. If you want to, you can see all of our social tags down in the description.
Yeah. Mine's weird. No, it's awesome. It's not weird. Well, weird is just a synonym for being awesome.
You can find Luke at Good Find Games at all of these different places. Sometimes a 618 on them, sometimes not. Look in the comments, or look in the description. You can find Ricky at Righteous Lutheran with a W. Sometimes an A, sometimes not. You can see it in the description. And you can find me, Hallowed Foxmoon. Basically on Twitch and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. You can find more content for excellence in gaming right here on Gaming Public Radio. Till next time, thanks again. Bye.